you're in the boardroom, you're like, this really needs to hit.
We need to
I understand it. I understand that.
And it does hit.
It does hit.
This starts off because it's May.
This is summer blockbuster season.
Yep.
Summer blockbuster season starts with Thunderbolts.
Yep.
Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. If you've never checked us out before, we encourage you to go see the movie and then come talk about it with us, your friends. We're talking about Thunderbolts today as Marvel's mostly side characters assemble to fight evil and maybe some inner demons.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's why we need each other.
Okay, that was really good.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you.
We also have a big question for today.
The big question is, what combination from any walk of life movie you want, what combination of movie characters would you like to see in a team-up movie of their own?
It's casting soup.
That's right.
For the big question. All right, let's get some initial takes. Thunderbolts, the latest addition to the MCU.
Florence Pugh cements herself as one of this generation's greatest actors. Now, that may seem weird coming from a superhero movie, and I'm about to tell you why. Because even through this borderline ridiculous Russian accent, she has people in the audience crying because she's delivering this childhood trauma and memory and this things that people can relate to, not being in the Red Room, but just other trials that they may have gone through as a child and they felt alone and this, and this. And she conveys all of that through, again, this borderline Russian obnoxious accent. And I just sat back as I saw somebody next to me, like, put a Kleenex up to their eye or something. And I was just like, dear God, what an actor.
Watch her go to work.
So that's my initial take on the Thunderbolts. The movie, Florence Pugh is that tremendous.
Well, I'm not going to argue. This is her movie. She absolutely carries this movie with some really good help, alongside of her, where different moments belong to a character that can chew up some scenery. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina and David Harbour. Oh my gosh, of course, it's ridiculous. It's cheesy, but it's so much fun. This was a really fun movie that has some highs and lows. I think it goes in one direction more than the other, and I say emotionally, but this is a solid piece of connective tissue in the Marvel universe that's going to usher in the next pretty big movies, at least expectation-wise.
Yeah, for me, what this movie does is it helps bring Marvel back to center and what its core is supposed to be, which is finding a way to fight for good, having depth of characters, having emotions, knowing what you're fighting for and what you're fighting against, and having good timing of comic relief. I mean, it brings so much heart to it as well, too, because when you think about successful Marvel movies, and I know it's been tossed around, but like Guardians of the Galaxy, especially the first one, right?
Yep.
There's depth to these characters. They build on trauma, and they build on what these characters have each have gone through to form a team, and with plenty of comedy, but plenty of heart. And that you bring a team of misfits together, and all of a sudden, they are the heroes that are fighting for good. Yes, you have your Avengers, who are also supposed to be just heroes inherently, right?
Right.
But everyone loves a good misfit movie, and you want to cheer them on. And that's what this movie accomplishes, is that you do know that there is trauma, especially with like a John Walker, right?
Yep.
There's plenty of bad that he has done, and they made him very unlikable. Falcon and Winter Soldier for good reason. He's supposed to be you're supposed to hate him. You're supposed to,
and a good portion of this movie.
Yes, and they do a good job of all the memes of names you could call him, of Temu Captain America, Dollar Store Captain America, all these different types of things, right? But in the end, you see that he's dealing with other sorts of trauma that he was trying to bury and hide. And every character has that. And that's what makes you cheer for them in this movie. And that's why it is good, is because there's depth to it. And it's not just surface level. So many superhero movies are surface level. And that can be fine. They can be fun, right? But when you connect and what Marvel was really good at before and what they can still be good at, proven in this movie, is making you connect and feel and feel like you can relate, even though none of us can actually truly relate to the trauma these characters have gone through, but you relate to certain traumas and how you could feel alone and feel depression and how can you overcome that. This movie accomplishes a lot of those things to make you want to stay and learn more, and people were reacting properly in my theater. So I think that's a good sign for this movie, is that it's not just the critics' views, it's the people enjoying the film, feeling like they can connect, and it is definitely something different in a way that it's what it used to be like. Like it brings it, that's why I say, to bring it back to my beginning, it brings it more back to center at its core, what a good superhero movie should be and what Marvel should be doing, and this helps accomplish that.
This movie is definitely it's a ragtag group. They call themselves a ragtag group. I'm kind of curious. You know, they become a group after trying to kill each other, which is a good formula. It's worked before in other movies. Who stood out among this group in a way that they haven't in any of the previous appearances, like a Black Widow or...
Well, not Taskmaster.
Can we just pour one out for Taskmaster? Because I freaking love that character. I love the Taskmaster in Black Widow, and they put her on the poster, and I was like, all right, we're gonna get some Taskmaster in this one. I suspected she was gonna die because she's not in a lot of the trailer clips, and I was like, where the hell is Taskmaster? She's probably dead. But I did not know they were going to kill her off that early. I'm very sad about it. Taskmaster,
it's one line. It's one line.
I know. One line. Yep. I love you, Taskmaster. I love your character. It's awesome. I'm really, really sad they offed you that early. Sorry.
I didn't mean to derail your question.
No, that I mean, like, is an answer to the question in and of itself. I really like, you mentioned it, Justin, about, Wyatt Russell's, portrayal of Captain America. Like, I mean, there hasn't been a layered, emotional where you gave a crap about that character. You just accept wanting to hate him, right? You don't want to punch him, make the world a better place, punch him in the face. But that's because that's the way the character is written, and he does it pretty well. So I liked the fact that they went into a little trauma of everybody. I think Louis Pullman, at first, I didn't know what to make of his character, and I think the rest of the characters didn't either. As Bob, it was really funny in his introduction, and then it went like so deep. And really, this movie is mostly about the inner demons of Florence Pugh's character and his. And I think he really gave this movie some weight. After feeling it was a little like it's a lightweight character. He's kind of like hi, Bob. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, okay, he's dealing with some pretty deep, hurtful, traumatic experiences. And, eventually he becomes, a part of him is the villain in the movie. I thought that was a pretty masterful performance.
And with that, some people have already mentioned about how there's not enough fight sequences and things like that in the action. And you know what? The fight doesn't always have to be punching things.
No.
Like there's so many different inner fights especially when they're trying to pull him out of it. That's a fight. That is a battle. It doesn't need to be fight choreography. They're truly fighting a battle, but it's a battle more of mental health, and it's a battle of wits, and it's a battle of everyone overcoming together. And so that's what I appreciate about the movie more, is that it's not, you can't punch your way out of everything.
Right. Or suppress it.
Yeah.
You have to go to those dark places and face them. It's pretty remarkable, I think, what they did in this movie, because it gave it like gravity. It gave it stakes beyond the New York City as being, attacked and
Again.
again, they're trying to do those echoes of the Avengers and all the things that they did, and I see why they were doing that because they're like, it's like that thing, only it's with us and we suck, and then that's their own assessment of themselves.
We've talked about this before, but the best villains are ones where we can see why they are doing what they're doing, and I think Bob fits that bill. But his issue is that he can't help the emotional and physical abuse that he suffered in his family growing up that shaped the way he is. He shaped his depression, therefore it shaped his loneliness, therefore it shaped his self-worth, therefore
his addiction.
Addiction, all those things. It's all a big domino effect. We get to see a glimpse into his horrible childhood, what he had to witness, and of course that informs us on why he is the way he is, why he has skeletons in his closet, why the Sentry becomes the Void, why all these things. So I thought the actor I could probably take or leave. If I give him this, I mean, he was good, obviously, but I mean, you could probably give that role to somebody else and be just fine. But that aside, I thought he was a great villain because of that, because of the fact that there's more to him. Not just, I want to take over the world.
And because of that trauma, it made him easily manipulated.
Yes, that's right.
Because all you have to do is just lean into a little bit and boom, you have
I want to be there. I'm the only one who sees you.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because he so desperately wants to be seen.
And then it flips on her.
Right.
On Valentina when he's like, but I'm a god.
Right.
We know what's coming in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We know we're getting Fantastic Four. We know Doomsday's. We know Secret War. All these different things are coming, right? Maybe not even including post-credit scene, which again, mid-credit and post-credit scene, post-credit, far more meat to it.
Yeah.
Far more meat. We've been talking about the sense of direction for Marvel because in Phase 1 and even Phase 2, Phase 3, there was a sense of direction of what it was all leading up to, right?
Yep.
There was just more to it with the storytelling because we knew there's a big bad coming. We know that's coming because we know what movies are coming. Does this help a sense of direction of the MCU and its characters in regards to, especially if you include the post-credit scene of what we're trying to experience here? Because they're saying the Avengers are not coming. We're forming this new one. There's all these different hints here too of that things are still broken when it comes to superhero world, that there isn't anything cohesive because Thor's obviously gone doing his own thing with his daughter now. And then you have the new Captain America trying to reestablish something. You have lots of them that have retired.
Yep.
And everything too, or finding themselves in something different. They're trying to explore them in different ways. You have young Avengers potentially forming all this. For you guys, did this help give you any sense of, okay, I kind of see a direction here because it's been kind of lost to a lot of fans here of late?
No, I actually, it looks like they're kicking the can down the road even further.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying they're doing that. I'm saying that I can see how the optics would be. Oh, look, here's a team-up movie that's going to go really well. And now they're saying, oh, the new Avengers are coming. And it's, okay, now you're calling it something else. Like, it's just I don't know. To me, there is no end game, no pun intended, at the end. Obviously, I know there is because I know Doomsday is coming. Like, I'm a Marvel fan, so I understand that these things are coming. But I think at the end of the day, it's like if I didn't know those things, if I didn't keep up with all that, as a casual fan, which, by the way, this is a great movie for a casual fan, by the way. Great superhero movie.
Little caveat.
Yeah.
For somebody who's just seen the biggest of the movies and is maybe cooled in this phase, you're going to have the same reaction Lena did with, who's Ghost Lady. So there's some characters that were established well through some of the TV series and some of the other places that I think the casual fan maybe go, who's that? What's that? What's this?
Maybe so, but I would argue that you don't have to know their backstory.
True.
So, because it's more about the team up, it's more about Yelena's arc.
You're just going to appreciate a different level.
Yes,
if you do.
that's right. So my point though is that, I don't see a direction from this movie if I'm not a hardcore fan like I am.
Well, does a non-hardcore fan even care about direction?
No.
So just to kind of put a little,
you're right.
Okay,
I don't think they do.
By saying that, you're asking if I, as the hardcore fan, see direction.
Yes.
Not if my parents went to see it and enjoyed it.
We don't,
if they saw direction.
If we're talking about direction, a casual fan goes to the movie to be entertained. They don't care about the overall scope.
Yes. Okay, then yes. Then yes.
So
I just interpreted your question differently, but yes.
Sorry, does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
No. I'm looking from a fan's take that does follow Marvel, because the people that don't, they're just going to see movies to be entertained.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I'm somewhere between the casual fan and I didn't watch or read the comics. I didn't watch all the series. So, I'm selectively picking and choosing, okay, what's good? Okay, is that worth my time? I'm going to go that way. So I go in with a slightly different perspective of not like a super Marvel fan, or maybe a Marvel fan that's cooled.
Or I would call Jim, you're a big Marvel consumer.
Right.
You consume the content, maybe not necessarily a fan. And I think there is a difference, of course.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. Not an aficionado. I'm not going deep dive on a lot of.
You're not getting a Marvel tattoo anytime soon.
You are correct, sir.
But for really, when you're trying to take it fan base, right?
Right.
You're not collecting a bunch of stuff. You're not buying that, but you're going to consume it because you want to be entertained and you're curious enough.
And it's good enough to be consumed.
Right.
Right.
That's so. Hopefully, you don't get offended by that category.
No, not at all. I think it's accurate.
You are a Marvel consumer. I am a Marvel fan. Gover's a Marvel fan.
Right, but not. So you take the cake.
I know, in a lot of ways.
On the Marvel fandom, because I've never picked up a single Marvel comic book. I've told you before that before Iron Man, literally like before the movie came out, Iron Man, I could probably tell you 2 Marvel characters. If you said, "Hey, name some Marvel characters," I'd be like Spider-Man. I would have no idea.
Right.
So, and I watch all the series and stuff because, again, I'm entertained. I enjoy all that, but I'm not like, ooh, the Century in Comic 102 did this thing. I don't care about any of that. So there's the detachment there.
But in terms of the overall consumer base,
yes,
you are still top 5%.
Absolutely, yes. No,
okay.
I'm just not super
we're looking at the
nerd.
scope. Right.
Yeah, that's
super
what I mean.
nerd is a very small percentage. You are still a top fan.
Yeah, I agree
the
with
way
that.
I'd consider it, because you go to almost any casual person
I'm passionate.
and you talk about it, they're gonna be like, he's a freaking nerd.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I love it.
And then they look at me, they're gonna be like,
It was Captain Kirk's locker number in episode 63, which is a callback to a classic Saturday Night Live.
Bradford feels offended.
But no, I mean, like, I have things I go deep on. It's just not on this one. You know what I mean? So you can call me a nerd on a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But I'm proud to be there.
Anyways, back to that question. That's what I was curious about, was direction, because I feel like we got a lot of it, and especially at the very end of the third act, where they bring it together, where you still have Valentina being the big time antagonist. Now she just spins and you're like, God, I hate that. And then Yelena thankfully gets the last line of, we own you.
We own you. Yeah.
Like, I love that right there, because it's like, you're not going to spin this fully in your direction.
Very
We're going to
satisfying.
take the love, but we own you. You work for us now. So I did like how they did it like that, because it made me realize, okay, no, Valentina is there.
And I love how Bob backed away like he wasn't part of the team. He's
Right. Yeah. he's confused. He's just happy to be there. What's going on? But in terms of direction, now when you include the end credit scene, now we get direction for the next big Avengers movies, right? Like, we finally get that direction.
I think that's where it comes in. I didn't see it strongly in the movie, but I did definitely see the parallels of what's going on with Marvel's success and the Thunderbolts, because they're like, okay, you're not getting, the classic Avengers, Endgame kind of stuff. We're the new thing. Mm-hmm. And this is what you're getting as a moviegoer. This is what the cinematic universe is getting as their heroes now. So it was like, they were kind of meta in a lot of ways throughout this movie, but I don't think they set a whole lot up until you see the end credits.
Well, to build on that, Jim, we were talking before we started recording, was the marketing. Mm-hmm. I feel like they did a wonderful job marketing this movie.
in what way?
Multiple ways. The Wheaties box.
That's
in terms of the stand-ups in the movie theaters, and then the different posters as well, too, that had some foreshadowing in it as well. But the fun level of marketing, just in terms of when they arrived at one of the Comic-Cons, you have David Harbour driving the limousine, they're going berserk in it. So, like, being in character for all these different cons, that they're still playing the misfit in their marketing campaign. Like, In so many different ways, they were playing their roles. And I think the marketing overall did a very good job here compared to Brave New World, which overall still fun film overall.
Made a lot of money.
This is a better movie.
Oh,
Brave New World. By far, right?
Yeah.
No question.
Easily.
Night and day better.
But I feel like because they're a team of misfits, they're allowed to have more fun with the marketing too.
Yeah, it kind of
it fits, right?
It cuts the angry fanboy waiting to be, mad at the Marvel movie, cuts them off at the knees.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we've taken away your power. We're calling ourselves like a bunch of misfits.
Yeah.
We're not, the coolest thing going. And
he's not Captain America.
It's so disarming.
And he knows it because he gets told every single day that he's not Captain America. And then Elaine is dealing with, she knows she's not her sister. She has all these inner demons. And we realize that we get teased with that a little bit too. We realize all these inner demons. Even Red Guardian has all these inner demons that he's trying to face of always being second fiddle of, it was a knockoff of the American version of the serum and things like that's why I think they were able to have fun with the marketing because they didn't have to put themselves in a box. Or Wheaties box. But they had fun with it, and I think that's going to help this movie a lot because it wasn't like guerrilla marketing, but it's fun marketing, and they still, even though they put a little too much in trailers, still, they didn't give away everything.
But I would also argue that this is the kind of movie, I know I'm way nitpicking here, but this is the kind of movie where, no, you'll agree with me. This is the kind of movie where I don't blame them for like, we need to sell some tickets.
Oh,
whereas Deadpool and Wolverine, there was zero excuse.
Yeah, you're going to make
a third trailer before the movie came out.
Yeah,
spoiling 15 different things. That was colossally stupid. This one, it's like, I obviously I'm going to go see it. I'm a diehard. I think word of mouth would have been good, but I get it. In the boardroom, you're like, this really needs to hit.
We need it.
I understand it. I understand that,
and it does hit.
It does hit.
This starts off because it's May. Summer
blockbuster season.
Yep.
Summer blockbuster season starts with Thunderbolts.
Yep.
All right, let's get scores. What did you actually rate Thunderbolts? Bradford.
I really enjoyed this movie. And it's from what I said earlier because there's depth. I didn't want a surface level superhero movie. These characters needed to have depth because if you just go surface level with them, there's no connection, there's no stakes, there's no heart, and you don't have a movie. So we had to have some depth and stakes for each of these characters of why. Why did they team up? We knew there's going to be that misfit thing of there's probably try to kill each other at first. It just has to happen with these types of characters because they're mercenaries, things like that. But why? Why were they loners? We know John Walker and the reason there. We know Yelena. We know Ghost all of a sudden gets brought back after how many movies? It's been since we've really truly seen Ghost. But I wanted depth and I got depth and I wanted lots of heart and exploration of characters. And what we said before is the fight doesn't always have to be throwing punches. They're fighting their demons. They're fighting for their own mental health. They're fighting for things to feel normal because they've been through so much. So it's dealing with trauma. And I hope that this movie connects with a lot of people that, yes, you haven't been to the Red Room to be trained to be an assassin, but you've dealt with trauma. People have dealt with loss. People have dealt with being a loner, dealt with depression, dealt with breakups, dealt with love, bad decisions, maybe not murder all the time.
Right.
But people have dealt with trauma. And I hope that people don't see it for just the surface level of, okay, it's two misfits getting together in a superhero movie. No. Look a little bit deeper, and they force you to look deeper. You have to. That is the whole meaning of this movie, is to look deeper within and to overcome, to face the demons, to overcome them, and then you can find your true center and yourself and meaning for what you're doing. And that's why at the very end, they accept what Valentina says. Like, they're the new Avengers. They're like, okay, now we get to be heroes. So at least they accept that, even though it's not on the right terms, but that's what they all want. They want to be valued. And I think that's what we look at as the true meaning of value and being valued as a superhero, because all the people that are just good and known to be good, they already have their value. The people have given them their value in the public specter of everything there on the stage. These people have not earned that yet they yearn for it. They yearn to be accepted. They yearn to have meaning, to have seen. To be seen. Elaine is like, I have no one to go home to. And it's not that she necessarily craves a relationship. It's just she craves family.
Camaraderie.
People. Camaraderie. I mean, being so upset with Red Guardian for not talking in a year, that's still her dad. She craves a relationship there after the loss of her sister, losing her sister twice in that way. So, I mean, that's why I really did enjoy it, because we got more than just a punch-up, team-up movie. We got that depth that we saw of characters of development, just like in Guardians, not to compare them because they are two very different things. But we saw heart, and why this movie hit is because they made you want to relate to it. With that, I give it an 8.5.
Very good.
All right.
Gover, what do you think?
Florence Pugh was awesome. Talked about that. Best villains are ones we can see where they're coming from. Talked about that. Thought he did a great job there. David Harbour left me wanting more every single time he was on the screen, whether it be some awkward moment or a fun quip or struggling with the English language or whatever it was. Every time he left me wanting more, and that's a big accomplishment for a supporting role. This is a tremendous look at mental illness and childhood trauma. And superhero movies are fantasy, obviously, okay? But this superhero movie prompts a deep level of sympathy and empathy, and that takes an extremely special movie to take these real things that audience members everywhere are dealing with, or at least know somebody who has dealt with, and packages it in an entertaining way that also tells a story. I mean, full marks for that. Would I put this in the top tier of MCU films like Iron Man, Infinity War, Captain America, Civil War? No. But it is second tier with Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, etc. I'm going 8.0.
Okay. I'm going to echo everything you guys said and not do it verbally. The mental illness and health issues in this movie are so great. They give it the weight in the second half of the movie that maybe I didn't even need what he did to New York City for this movie to have like a great theme and to make me go, whoa, this is big stakes. So full marks for that, and doing it in, what would be considered a bubblegum vehicle, right? So love that they did that. This movie, all Marvel movies do have to stay within some lanes, but you can modify it a little bit, and I love when they do. I think it stretches kind of our understanding of the MCU. I really enjoyed Florence Pugh. She gives this movie so much, character, richness. And I just thought, man, this is great that they're going to these dark places. Maybe I didn't think it was as funny as some of the best Marvel movies, but credit to you for going into the dark places and really making me smile. I'm not going to say it was a meh movie, which some of the MCU's, not so distant attempts have gone, but it's not great either. I'm going to give it a good. This is a 7.5.
That's a good score, I think, from Jim. Mm-hmm. Again, not being the super fan that he is.
An 8.5 to 7.5 is a pretty good range.
No, it's a great range. Again, It's entertaining, you guys. It's not, even if you're not a Marvel super fan, you will be entertained by this movie.
Absolutely.
Yep. On every episode of the Untitled Film Project podcast, we ask a big question, one that we can answer, and so can you. Let's get that question from Mr. Gover.
What combination of movie characters from any movie ever would you like to see in a team-up movie of their own? So I'm sure I'm not stealing anybody because it's completely random. Bugs Bunny and Charlie Chaplin. I mean, whatever you want to do, and that's how you feel.
I thought that was going to be your answer.
No. Whatever you feel, that would be really weird.
Yes.
It's an A24 project. Whatever you want to do is fine with us. And notice we use the word combination, not pair or two or three even. It's a combination. If you want to put all the Ghostbusters together and put them in Chinatown, you go right ahead and do that. But what combination would you like to see? I will start with Jim.
All right, mine's weird. I just went to a strange place.
It's also an A24 release.
I am an A24 release. So I just tried to find people that I wouldn't picture together. I'm like, okay, who steals scenes? Who steals like parts of movies when they're not the main character? And I thought of Aubrey Plaza, and J.K. Simmons. Put them together in a dark comedy. All right, some kind of like Into the Woods and Whiplash combined. I think there's some gold to be mined there. This is totally popcorn going off in my head. Boop, 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 boop. But maybe there's something that could be made there that would be really funny.
It'd be entertaining.
Bradford.
Okay. So I want the cast of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So you're thinking Bob Hoskins, Christopher Lloyd, and the cast of Muppet Treasure Island.
Ooh. Okay.
Which includes Tim Curry. I'm talking about people in their heyday, right?
Yep.
When they're alive.
I'm here for any Muppets reference, so this is great.
So you think of the cast of characters in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which includes all Looney Tunes and all Disney. And then you have the Muppets. And then a few human characters. I want it to happen.
Okay.
That's wild. There are possibilities. Endless possibilities.
Endless possibilities.
All right.
Gover, who are you throwing together in a movie?
Well, admittedly, we didn't have a whole lot of time to think about this. Actually, came up with this question during the Thunderbolts movie. But I'm going to have to say Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, Bad Boys, with Vince Vaughn's Trent in Swingers, because I think they would all play off each other very, very well. And I think but they'd all be on a beat together. So it wouldn't be like Vince Vaughn's character Trent is like the commissioner or the villain, crook that they arrest. Like, it's just, they're all in this together somehow. And I think it would be outright hilarious to put those three personalities together.
I would love to see what happens. What different characters from anywhere would you put together in a movie? We'd love to hear what you think. You can hit us up on socials. I'm at Jim Chandler Now on pretty much all the platforms.
It's Go Overtime on Twitter.
Justin B. Bradford.
And you can also comment if you're watching on YouTube. We definitely want to know, who would you pair together in a hypothetical scenario? You're the casting director.
Yeah.
Have fun. There are no rules. We are the Untitled Film Project Podcast. Follow us. Enjoy us. When you go see a movie, say, let me go listen to what those guys think. And then you can tell us we're trash.
I'm trash.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.